Here are 5 makeup hacks that will change your life. Normally when we hear about makeup hacks, we think that they either don't work or that they're not easily achievable. But I can assure you that after watching these 5 makeup hacks, you will not look back on how you would normally apply your makeup. My lips probably reacted to one of the ingredients in a lip gloss that I used. It is getting better now, but it got darker because it was burning so bad. So that's the reason why my lips look like this, but I'm just glad it's getting better. Now, always start my makeup routine with a well moisturized base, but this makeup hack has completely changed the game for me. So I start by using 2 pumps of an oil-free long-wearing foundation. The one that I'm using is the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation. And then I go in with 1 pump of my serum. Now I know you're probably thinking, wouldn't mixing these 2 products cause the foundation to separate? It actually doesn't. So once you pump it on there, you want to give it a good mix to make sure everything is mended together before applying it on your skin. Now this is going to get your foundation to apply on so much smoother. Especially during the winter, my skin tends to be drier, and this just gives the foundation a better blend. It also creates this really nice sheer coverage from your foundation. So if your foundation is way too thick and it tends to be cakey, this hack right here can really help improve the texture of the foundation to make it more lightweight and less cakier. As you can see, it's super easy to blend. Even after moisturizing my skin with all the skincare products, it tends to be dry, but with this hack, I can always make sure that my foundation blends flawlessly and super easy. It also gives this really nice skin-like finish, and you can apply more on the areas of your face where you would need it. So I usually like applying more around my mouth area just to give it better coverage. Normally this Bobbi Brown foundation has a thicker consistency, which usually blends better when your skin is more hydrated. If you feel like the foundation is a little bit too thick, it's not lightweight enough, the key is adding an oil-free serum. I love this MAC Hyper Real serum because it's very lightweight. It keeps my skin super moisturized, so mixing it with the foundation ensures that my skin doesn't dry out and won't create any patchiness or cakiness on my foundation. The next hack is the concealer hack. So for this, you want to grab one of your favorite concealers. My current favorite is this Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Concealer. This is a really nicely formulated concealer that blends really smoothly under the eyes. You don't want to use a concealer that's too thick. Opt for a liquid concealer. And then next you want to use one of your favorite oil absorbing setting powders. I really like this Huda Beauty Easy Bake setting powder. You want to get one that is lighter than your concealer or the same shade as your concealer. And the key to this hack is using a fluffy brush, taking a little bit of that powder. You want to dust off the excess. I know you're probably thinking, isn't this going to be cakey? It will not be cakey. The key is applying a very small amount. And you want to use this powder on the brush to blend out your concealer. This hack will make sure that your concealer blends out flawlessly and you don't need to set your under eyes with powder. It allows you to use the smallest amount of powder and the smallest amount of concealer because it mixes the powder with the concealer, giving you enough coverage. At the same time, it gives you a really nice smooth finish. This is what it looks like after you've blended it out. I will not need to set this with powder. It doesn't cause any cakiness under your eyes, and neither does it cause creasing, and it makes the blending super easy. So I just like to press that right underneath my eyes, and you want to blend it out completely, and you want to take your time to blend it out. I love this hack because if you have oily skin or combination skin, this type of technique will ensure that your concealer doesn't form too many oils, and it also allows you to use a very small amount of powder because sometimes powder can cause cakiness. And as you can see, the discoloration under my eyes is covered up. You don't see any oils from the concealer, giving you a super flawless under eye. Next hack is a nose contour hack. Now, nose contour can be very difficult to apply, especially if you're a beginner or you're just somebody who sometimes struggles with nose contour like I do. I found that this hack is a little bit easier for me. Now, obviously, makeup is subjective, so this might be easier for you or this might be a little bit too much. So the contour stick I'm using is this Rare Beauty contour stick. So you want to start by applying the contour all over your nose. The shade that I'm using is On the Horizon, which is the perfect shade for my skin tone. It really helps to give your nose more of a sun-kissed look. Once you've applied the contour like this, you want to go in with a concealer that is 4 to 5 shades lighter than your skin. So I'm using this ILIA Beauty True Serum Concealer. This is in the shade Turmeric. So you want to take that concealer and apply it on the bridge of your nose and then on the sides of your nose, and then go in with a damp powder puff to blend out the concealer. You want to just tap on the sides of your nose to blend it out, making sure not to over blend the contour, and this will give your nose more more of a structured look. As you can see, my nose is now structured. You can kind of still see that contour. So I like to go back in with the powder puff and just lightly press on that contour. This is going to help soften up the contour to make it look a little bit more natural. As you can see, my nose looks structured. It looks like you can see the nose bridge a little bit better. Now, the next step is definitely to set it and to use a setting powder that is almost the same color as your concealer or slightly lighter. So I'm using that same setting powder that I used to mix with my concealer. I'm picking up a little bit on the powder puff and spreading it across the palm of my hand to help evenly distribute the product on the puff, and you just want to press that right where you applied the concealer. This will help set that concealer so that it doesn't move. It's like you're literally locking in this nose contour. I also like to place some down the bridge of my nose. Now, as you can see, we have this structured nose contour, and applying that powder really just helps set it and lock it. This next hack is a setting powder hack. If you're somebody who doesn't like contouring or you just don't contour as much, you can use this hack, which is known as reverse contour. But the original way we used to reverse contour is taking the powder and curving the reverse contour, kind of like it's hugging our cheeks. This is great. It's worked for some people depending on your face shape. It also gives your face more of a round look, but the only thing about this is when it comes to around this area, you can kind of see that powder, which makes it look very patchy. Even after using a brush to dust off the excess, this can get a little bit too harsh. You have to be very careful in how you apply it. So instead, I now really like applying the setting powder in a downward direction. This creates more of a natural reverse contoured look, and it's way softer because it doesn't come across your face compared to this side where you still see that powder right there. I do think this hack is really great if you're trying to really structure your jawline to give your face more of a longer appearance and more of a contoured look. And it's a great alternative for contouring. You also want to take a brush to dust off the excess to give it more of a natural look. And if you compare this side to this side, this looks more natural and gives you a better structure. Now, we always have to include a blush hack. I never thought I'd be the one saying this because I always used to say never apply cream on top of powder because it can create patchiness and it can be really hard to blend. But I've realized that depending on the formulation of the cream and depending on the formulation of the powder, I do think that some creams can go on top of powder, but you have to be very careful in how you do it. So for this hack, I'm gonna go in with the Juvia's Place Blush Rougie. This is one of my favorite blush palettes. It has the perfect formula for a powder blush. It's very pigmented and really easy to blend. You want to use a powder that has more of a velvety texture and also a cream that has a velvety texture, because using a powder and a cream that both have almost the same texture will make them blend well together. I like to take the blush and just apply it the regular way I would apply blush, so on the apples of my cheeks and just dragging it all the way up towards my temples. And like I mentioned, this blush is really pigmented, but it's easy to blend. It doesn't stay patchy on your skin. Now, this blush looks great, but in a couple of hours, this blush will fade on my skin because blush tends to fade the fastest on your face. So I like applying a cream blush on top of this to make sure that my blush is staying at least 8 hours. For the cream blush, I love using this Milk Makeup Cream Blush. This is in the shade Quark. So the key to applying this cream blush on top of this powder is really first applying it at the back of your hand. Do not go directly and apply it on top of the powder because that will create patchiness as soon as you try to blend it out. So you want to take a damp beauty blender. So I'm using this one, which is the same one I use for my foundation. You want to lightly pick up the product with the sponge and lightly tap it onto your skin. Don't rub, don't move it around because that will create patchiness. You just want to gently press that very lightly on top of that powder. This is gonna help your blush last longer. It is gonna help increase the pigmentation of the blush. And I also love this method because it gives my skin more of that lit from within look. It makes your skin look really glowy and healthy, and you won't even need a highlighter on top of this. So because this is a cream product, I like to focus it on the highest point of my cheekbones, which is usually where I place the highlighter, so that it also gives my skin a healthy glow. And with this method, you will not need to use setting spray on top of the blush because your skin already has that natural glowy effect. And then once you do that, I like to go in with a powder puff that I used for the powder and go around that blush. Do not place this powder right on top of this glow because it's going to mattify it. This will make sure that you don't see any harsh lines from the blush, and it's gonna give your blush more of a natural appearance. And as you can see, this hack doesn't create any patchiness. Like I mentioned, it's a good hack if you're really looking to get your blush to last on your skin for a really long time, and it works on all skin types. So even if you have oily skin and you want that natural glow, it won't cause a greasy finish on your skin. It's gonna give you more of a natural glow. But makeup hacks are not the only things that you need to know to transform your makeup. You also need to know the makeup techniques. And that's why you have to watch this video, because I show you the different makeup techniques that could elevate your makeup.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'.